They say talent rises. They say brilliance shines. But history has proven something darker. A genius can change the world and still be erased from it. This is the story of a man who solved problems others couldn't even understand. A man whose inventions shaped modern America. A man whose ideas made billion-dollar industries possible. Yet the country he transformed tried to bury his name, his legacy, and the truth of who he really was. This is the story of the genius America tried to erase. He was born into a world that believed black minds belonged only in fields, not laboratories. A world where curiosity wasn't encouraged, it was punished. Where doors didn't just stay closed, they were locked, barred, and guarded. But he was different. He saw patterns in chaos. He saw solutions where others only saw problems. He could fix anything. Watches, machines, engines, even devices he'd never touched before. He had a gift. A gift so powerful that even those who doubted him felt a quiet fear. What happens when a mind like this realizes its own worth? He was formally trained, yes, but in America, his education meant nothing. They forced him into the lowest job on the railroad, as if genius could be reduced to manual labor. His lab was a dusty shed. His equipment was whatever he could repair or salvage. His research notes were written on grocery bags, newspaper scraps, and anything he could get his hands on. But the brilliance was there, glowing, unstoppable. He built machines that worked better than the ones designed by trained engineers. He solved problems respected scientists had spent years trying, and failing, to solve. And soon, he created something so extraordinary, so ahead of its time, that even government officials and wealthy businessmen came knocking. But they didn't come to honor him. They came to take. In a time when America depended on manual labor, he created something revolutionary. A machine that could multiply productivity by 10. A machine that could save industries millions. A machine that could change the future of manufacturing. But there was a problem. A problem bigger than the machine. Bigger than the industry. He was a black man. In the America of that era, a black inventor with a world-changing machine was not an asset, he was a threat. Business owners didn't fear the invention. They feared who created it. If the world learned that a black man had solved something that teams of white engineers couldn't, if they admitted he was smarter, faster, more capable, and more visionary, it wouldn't just challenge the industry. It would challenge their world order. So they made a decision. A decision whispered behind boardroom doors. A decision disguised as business. They would take his invention, but not his name. He walked into meetings where people refused to shake his hand. Meetings where his own invention was praised, but he was ignored. Meetings where they talked about his creation as if he wasn't standing right there. Then came the offer. A contract. Large money up front. 0 royalties. 0 credit. 0 ownership. It wasn't a business deal. It was a message. Take the money. Give us the invention. And disappear. If he signed, the world would never know he built it. Never knew he changed an industry. Never knew he was a genius. But if he refused, there were worse ways to destroy a man than breaking his career. And he knew this. So he signed, not out of surrender, but out of survival. He signed because genius doesn't always win battles. Sometimes, genius simply chooses to live long enough to keep creating. His machine spread across the country. Factories adopted it overnight. Productivity soared. Workers did in hours what used to take days. Industries that were once struggling became profitable. Businesses grew. Fortunes multiplied. And newspaper headlines proudly announced the white engineers who supposedly created the breakthrough. Not once, not a single time, was his name mentioned. His signature was on the invention. but someone else's was on the patent. And history recorded the wrong man as the genius. Erasing his name didn't erase his brilliance. Stealing his invention didn't break his purpose. He went back to his shed. He picked up his tools. He kept inventing. Because genius is stubborn. Genius doesn't beg for permission. Genius doesn't wait for recognition. It creates because it must. And soon he built something new. Another invention. Another breakthrough. Another idea so powerful that the same businessmen who had stolen from him once came back again. But this time he had learned. When they tried to take this invention, he refused. He refused the offers. He refused the threats. He refused the pressure. And for the first time, they realized something they had hoped wasn't true. They only controlled the invention. They never controlled the mind behind it. But refusing had consequences. Suddenly, newspapers ran stories discrediting him. Competitors whispered lies about him. Businessmen publicly mocked the idea that a black man could be a scientific mind. Opportunities closed. Support disappeared. America didn't just try to erase him. It tried to destroy him. But you cannot destroy someone who understands their own worth. He died in obscurity. Not wealthy. Not celebrated. Not recognized for the hundreds of ideas he brought into the world. But decades later, researchers digging through archives found something that changed everything. Old blueprints. Old devices. Old articles. Old notes, his notes, proving he had invented machines credited to other men. And suddenly, historians realized, America didn't forget him. America hid him. They erased his name from patents. Erased his face from documents. Erased his contributions from textbooks. But they couldn't erase the truth. His inventions were still being used. His designs were still being studied. His ideas were still the foundation of modern manufacturing. His mind had shaped America, even if America refused to honor it. This is where the story becomes painful. You've heard this name before, but never in the place it deserves to be. Elijah McCoy, the man whose automatic lubrication system revolutionized railroads and machinery, a device so advanced that companies demanded the real one, not cheap copies. That phrase, the real McCoy, meaning the genuine one, came from him. Yet history barely mentions his name. For decades, textbooks credited others. Inventors copied him. Companies profited from him. And America almost succeeded in burying him completely. Almost. Because today, right now, you are hearing his story. You are learning the truth they tried to hide. You are remembering the man they hoped you would forget. And that is why stories like this matter. Elijah McCoy was not just an inventor. He was a visionary. A mind decades ahead of his time. A man whose brilliance forced an entire country to confront a truth it didn't want to admit. Black excellence did not begin after oppression. It existed despite it. McCoy proved that genius is not tied to opportunity. But opportunity is often tied to race. He proved that a man can be brilliant, innovative, world-changing, and still be hidden by a system built to silence him. But he also proved something even more important. You cannot erase genius. Not forever. Not completely. Not truly. Because genius leaves fingerprints on the world. Fingerprints that don't fade. Fingerprints that live in machines, systems, inventions, and stories. Fingerprints that wait, patiently, for the truth to catch up. And today, it has. Elijah McCoy's legacy is not just his inventions. It's the lesson his life teaches. That brilliance is not defined by recognition. That greatness is not defined by credit. And that history, no matter how manipulated, eventually reveals the truth. They tried to erase the genius. They tried to replace him. They tried to bury his name. But here you are, learning who he truly was. And by listening to his story, you've already defeated the erasure they spent a lifetime protecting. If this story inspires you, kindly like, comment, share this video, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more intriguing untold Black history stories.